So the Honda Jazz as a concept is very clever because essentially it is quite a small car, but it has a lot of space in it. That's like Doctor Who's TARDIS or Mary Poppins' bag, in the sense that it looks small on the outside, but you can fit all sorts of things in it. Instead of putting the fuel tank under the rear seats like it is in every other car, it's actually under me. It's a simple thing to do, but it means that suddenly you've got all this extra room in the back. If you think about that back area as basically just a great big box, you can then place the seats in anywhere you like, and that's what they did. This second generation is potentially in a bit of a sweet spot zone between affordability to buy this car, but also things like reliability and rust issues and things that you get with older cars. Because this car came out in 2009 and was sold until 2015. The view out from this car is as nice as ever. It's got a huge amount of like dashboard in front of you, just like it did in the first gen. And there's obviously this section here at the front with the little glass quarter light. You feel like you are more like part of the environment. It's quite refreshing for a modern car to have pretty decent visibility. But I do find that this A-pillar can obstruct things if you're coming into a roundabout. Otherwise, the visibility is good. The back end of the car is just squared off. And if you're reversing this, down your drive to your house, for example, you can park within an inch of a wall or whatever and you'll know that you're there. You don't need parking sensors. It's easy to drive. It's got a great gearbox. All Hondas of this era, they have a really nice gearbox that just feels very well engineered and very easy to use and very slick. Steering in this car is electric power steering, unlike the first gen, which has hydraulic. I must say, it doesn't feel that different really. Normally there's quite a big difference between the two, but I think because the first generation Honda Jazz, its steering wasn't its strong point, this actually feels pretty similar. It's got some weight to it. It's not overly light. The turning circle is quite good. I can kind of spin it round in this little car park here, just about. It's always a bit of an Achilles heel with the Jazz, is the ride comfort. Is it better on this Mark II? Because the first generation was quite firm. And I'm going to say it is better, yes, I think, but it's still on the firm side. Honda have still gone for like a firm ride. I like how this interior looks. It looks cool. It's got like a very nice, cool looking steering wheel, which Hondas always seem to have. You've got 3 dials in front that are orange backlit and quite soothing, but also quite sporty looking actually, given that this car has no real sporting credentials. You've got a little screen in the middle that tells you things like how many miles you've got until you need to fill up, how many miles the car's done, what temperature it is outside. It's got the Honda quality, as I've spoke of before, where various controls and things feel nice to use, like the indicator feels really nice to use, the wiper stalk, it's got this damped, soft feeling. The buttons are nice to touch, if not having that sort of soft material touch that maybe a German car would have. The hazard switch is actually really nice. It's like a little gem, a little boiled sweet. This car is the executive model, and you will have noticed that I've got this nice big panoramic sunroof above me with a great big glass slab, which is really nice, especially for if you're sat in the back. And it comes with things like cruise control and air conditioning, this really cool little climate control dial here. It's not like any other car I've seen before. It's like a little porthole for a submarine. It's also decently comfortable because these seats are very nice and soft and comfortable to sit in, but they've also got bolsters. Now, this car, it's not a car that you would want to be chucking around the bends and putting it on its door handles. They're pretty adjustable. You can move the seat up and down, and this steering wheel is adjustable because you can bring it out towards you as well as up and down, and that's not a given on all small cars. There are cup holders which just about fit the fat bottom bottle. There's one to the side of the steering wheel on the right, actually in front of one of the vents, which is actually a pretty good spot for it, to be honest, because it's out of the way and it's not getting in the way of the gear stick or the controls like most cup holders. It's got a big cubby hole down here underneath the center console, but it's actually got this little extra bit, which is a Honda official item, and it's this bit of plastic. It creates cup holders when you put it in there. The classic double glove box, which Honda Jazz always has, you've got a bit on the top and a bit on the bottom, so you've got extra space there. And then of course you've got the door pockets. They've got cup holders in, but they don't fit the fat bottom bottle, but you could get a smaller bottle in there. Well, we must now find out what it's like in the back of the Honda Jazz, and that's actually quite a big job because the back of the Honda Jazz is where the magic happens. I'm going to hand over to backseat JJ, and I'm just going to go off somewhere else because it might take him a while, so I'll see you in a bit. Welcome to Jazz Hour with backseat JJ. Now, to get the standard stuff out of the way first, there is legroom and headroom sat behind JJ. It's got a little comfy armrest here in the middle, and I've got a place to put the fat bottom bottle in. It actually fits. It's the only place in the car that it truly properly fits. And then there's pockets on the back of the seats. Of course, a flat floor in the middle, which means anybody sat in the middle has got space to put their feet. So the first thing you can do with what Honda call the magic seats is lift them up vertically like this and then lock them in place like that. And then the same on the other side. A lot of reviewers will say that you can store things like tall plants and stuff in here, but I've always wondered, can you juggle in the back of a Honda Jazz? And the answer is yes. Even before we start putting the seats down and stuff, the boot is actually a pretty decent size, and they actually fold completely flat. You can just slide stuff straight in because there's no like hump in the way. So it's pretty spacious back here as well. You have got basically a van. Oh, let's load up the Jazz, Gladys. There's a bit of a load lip there, but it's not too bad. You can put stuff in like this. And then we've got a little bit of a false floor here, and underneath is a full-size spare wheel. But what's cool is that it does this, where it hooks into there, and you now have all your stuff can be still in the boot here, but you can take your spare out. It's not going to all roll into that hole. And that's the back of the Honda Jazz. So cheers, JJ, and back to you, mate. See you later. All right, cheers, mate. See you later. The majority of these Mark II Jazzes in the UK and Europe had a 1.3 litre petrol VTEC, iVTEC engine. In the US it was available only with a 1.5 litre VTEC. You could also get over here a 1.2. The 1.3 is brilliant because it's actually got 100 horsepower, which is plenty for a car like this. It doesn't weigh that much, it's a small car, and if you look at a car like the Fiat Panda 100 horsepower, that was like lauded as a cool little hot hatch with enough performance. So this car has 100 horsepower anyway without really caring or trying. There was no diesel option, but there was a hybrid petrol, which rather than doing say 50 miles per gallon that you might get out of this car, which is very good, you might get, let's say, 60 miles per gallon. I don't think it's necessarily worth all that extra complexity in order to get those 10 extra miles per gallon. Something that is worth considering though is that in the UK, the tax for that hybrid is very cheap. It's like £10 a year, whereas for this 1.4 or 1.2, it's actually £160 a year. The gearing in this 5-speed, it's not the highest, so when you're on the motorway at 60 miles an hour, you're doing nearly 3,000 RPM, and there is a bit of wind noise and road noise, but it is capable long distance as well. As I say, it's very comfortable. Like, you've got cruise control on the steering wheel, which means it's very easy to use. I could happily do big miles in this car, no problem. If you want an automatic Jazz, there's actually two options available, which is a little bit confusing, I imagine, because there's something called a CVT, which is what Honda are kind of used to building in these cars, and it's a bit of a strange gearbox in that it doesn't actually have any gears, it's just a continual transmission. But the other option is something called the iShift. That is what we call an automated manual gearbox, and essentially it is a manual gearbox with a clutch. You know, you don't use a clutch pedal, the car does it for you. That's complicated and fragile, and it is in any car that has a gearbox like that. I would recommend getting a CVT and not the iShift. One of the other great features about the Honda Jazz, and most Hondas for that matter, is the reliability. The cars will do huge miles if they're serviced and looked after. As always, look for full service history if you're going to buy a car like this. So is this Jazz the sweet spot, and should you buy one of these over a Mark 1 or a Mark 3? And in my opinion, yeah, you should, because unless you want that new number, you know, like a 16, 17 reg car on the Mark 3, you might as well just get a Mark 2, because it's just as good as that third generation car, but it's way cheaper. It's incredibly practical, small, economical, efficient, safe. This car's 5-star Euro NCAP, I didn't mention that. A massive thank you to John for lending me this car, and to you guys for watching. If you want to see a review on the Mark 1 Honda Jazz, that's going to be up there. And if you want to see a review on the Mark III Honda Jazz, which came out after this one, that's going to be down there. And just thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.